Hello there and welcome to the News Tonight, where we get you the day's top stories from India and across the world. I'm Tracy Chilshi and here are the headlines. The Prime Minister launches Digital India Week for fast delivery of services. Industry commits 4.5 lakh crore rupees investment for the initiative, pledges to create 18 lakh jobs. Union Cabinet clears the Pradhanmantri Krishi Ojna scheme will attempt to provide irrigation facilities to every village. Supreme Court frowns upon mediation in rape cases, pulls up Madras High Court, says any compromise promising wedlock between the rape accused and victim compromises dignity of the woman. And Greece loses access to Euro funds after missing the IMF deadline. Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras now offers new concessions, but Germany says his offer lacks clarity. Our top story. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today launched the Digital India Week to work towards a campaign promising of connecting around 2.5 lakh villages by 2019. The program aims to make all citizens digitally literate and bring internet and mobile governance to all sections of the society. Here are the details.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called upon the nation's IT community to build credible cyber-security systems and boost production of electronic devices. He launched the Digital India Week, aimed at empowering people and better delivery of government services with the use of IT and its tools. Several top industrialists, including Mukesh Ambani, Anil Ambani and Azim Premji, were also present at the event.
E-governance बहुत ही तेजी से M-governance में बदलने वाला है. M does not mean Modi governance, mobile governance.
Exhorting the youth to participate in his government's Digital India drive, the Prime Minister assured full support to the young entrepreneurs who plan to launch startups. Unveiling the logo and policy documents related to Digital India Week, Modi described cyber-related risks as a global threat of bloodless war and urged the IT industry to rise to the occasion and offer solutions.
रक्त विहीन युद्ध के बादल मंडरा रहे हैं. इस रक्त विहीन युद्ध से जब बादल मंडरा रहे तो सुख चैन की जिंदगी मानव जी सके. क्या भारत इसका नेतृत्व कर सकता है कि नहीं कर सकता है? क्या विश्व को सुख चैन की जिंदगी जीने के लिए रक्तहीन युद्ध से सुरक्षा देने के लिए क्या भारत की टैलेंट काम आ सकती है कि नहीं आ सकती है?
Digital India initiative has several components aimed at making delivery of various services to the common people faster and easier. The Prime Minister also outlined his vision of e-governance, of mobile governance, and emphasized on how the use of IT tools can make citizen government interface incorruptible. Vishal Daya's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And several top industrialists, including Mukesh Ambani, were present at that launch of Digital India Week. They announced investments in the IT sector over the next few years. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley also pointed out that this new initiative will further strengthen the economic standing of the country on the global stage.
We at Reliance will invest over 250,000 crores across the Digital India pillars. I estimate that Reliance's Digital India investments will create employment for over 5 lakh people.
We are even now firming up plans to develop a digitally enabled township of 100 acres in a suburb of Mumbai.
That we will make a very meaningful contribution to your initiative of Digital India. We commit to spend in excess of 100,000 crores in the next 5 years.
The large contingent of top industrialists of the nation present at the launch of Digital India Week expressed their commitment through investments in the industry. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley underlined the importance of IT sector in the overall economic growth of the nation.
India is no longer satisfied in somewhat a less than modest global economic environment of being the fastest growing emerging economy in the world. We wish to grow faster.
Other top industrialists present on the occasion also praised the Prime Minister for the initiative. Vishal Dahiya, Rajya Sabha TV, Delhi.
Well, in fact, we are going to be speaking to a cyber expert in just a short while on what are the challenges really that the Modi government would be facing on this front as far as making this achievable till 2019. We've got, we in fact have our guest today, Monique Mehra, who's a cyber expert joining us now from the capital. Monique, I'm sorry, Prime Minister Modi there saying that from electronic goods, making them globally competitive to enhancing cyber security, India really must show the way. Does this seem like a perfect platform for that?
Could you please repeat the question?
Monique, does this seem like a perfect platform really for India to globally seal its name as a country that is serious about cybersecurity?
There are challenges for the digital India. There are the challenges like security, the cyber laws, how strong our cyber laws are there. There are new laws to be implemented for cyber laws. So there are other platforms like data security, internet security. There are a lot of challenges to be taken care of. Otherwise, without these backbone, these are the backbones for making the digital India success. So we need to improve the digital security, internet security, cyber. We need to enforce the new cyber laws.
As a cyber
Otherwise,
expert,
the initiative is wonderful if we target it to.
Yes, go ahead, Monique. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, otherwise the initiative for the digital India is good. We say that it's electronic digital, or we can also alternatively say that's a easy governance. We will be every citizen will be benefit from the electronic or e-governance. So it's a great initiative taken by the Indian government in terms of the digital India. So it will be whether it comes to the e-governance or e-hospital, e-health or e-education,
Yes.
everybody would be beneficial. And the purpose is to connecting the rural villages with the internet. Basically, we require the bandwidth also.
Yes.
So today the normal average bandwidth is 1.5 Mbps to 2 Mbps. So that needs to be enhanced because we are increasing the data usage in terms of the voice calls, internet-based calls, IP-based activities, e-commerce sites are coming up. So the bandwidth is getting choked. We need to improve in terms of the bandwidth as well. Only then this the digital India would be a success. So there are a lot of challenges we need to be taken care before we go ahead with these projects.
Absolutely. In fact, a survey recently put India's average internet speed at 115th globally. It was ranked 115th, so that's a big challenge there. But, just talking about this initiative, Monique, what are the things that are exciting you as a cyber expert? Because, as far as the Aam Aadmi is concerned, people in the villages are concerned, the fact that they're going to be generating at least promising to generate about 18 lakh jobs, that's, of course, something that they're looking at as a positive. What about you?
Definitely, there will be more jobs created for the IT companies, and we always see that the people are moving out of the India and settling abroad. We would be seeing that people would be coming back to India, investing in India, and it will be a great market in terms of digital world. And otherwise, it will be a easy job for the common man also. Everything would be online. The corruption would be low. There are many things which will be a success if we achieve the digital India, if we go towards the digital India.
All right, we leave it at that for the moment. Monique, thanks so much for joining us with those details there. Of course, the government hoping that millions of dollars in investment is what they're going to be getting within this week itself, which is, of course, going to be critical for it to create those jobs more quickly. We'll keep an eye out, of course, on developments on that front. Meanwhile, in an effort to reduce dependence on monsoon for agriculture, the centre today approved a scheme providing irrigation facility to every village. The Pradhanmantri Krishi Ojna was cleared at the cabinet meeting today, which was headed by Prime Minister Modi. The cabinet approved convergence of ongoing schemes being implemented by various ministries for this ambitious project. Presently, 65% of the total 142 million hectares of cultivable farmland in the country is still not covered by irrigation. The cabinet also approved setting up of an online national agriculture market to provide more options to farmers for selling their products. In fact, in other major decisions, the cabinet also extended the ban on onion hoarding for another year, and the order has been extended as onion prices in both wholesale and retail markets have started increasing. In other news, the Supreme Court today adopted a tough stance over a Madras High Court judgment in a rape case. Referring to the court's order granting bail for mediation between a rape accused and the victim, the Supreme Court called it a compromise on the dignity of a woman while ruling out mediation in such cases. In fact, the apex court made its observations in context of yet another judgment involving a rape case from Madhya Pradesh, where a man was convicted of raping a 7-year-old. The court said, and I quote, "These are crimes against the body of a woman, which is her own temple. These are offences which suffocate the breath of life and sully the reputation. There cannot be a compromise or settlement, as it would be against her honour, which matters the most. It is sacrosanct." The Madras High Court's order was issued in response to an appeal and a bail plea from the convict, who was sentenced to 7 years and was slapped with a fine of 2 lakh rupees by a women's court in Tamil Nadu in 2002.
Now, when the Supreme Court has specifically said that these compromises should not be considered as the dignity of a woman holds the priority, so what I think is, as per the court observation, now the punishment in the rape cases, which initially used to be sometimes reduced to several years because of the compromise between the parties, the courts now will not consider those compromises between the parties while giving or while imposing the punishment on the accused persons.
On to the top international story. And after Greece missed the IMF debt repayment deadline, Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras has offered new concessions to creditors. Reports suggest that Tsipras is willing to accept most conditions that were on the negotiation table before the talks collapsed. 2 key Eurozone meetings are expected to take place soon to discuss aid for Greece now.
A confident and calm Greek PM Alexis Tsipras made a televised address reassuring that his country will remain at the negotiation table even after the referendum. Repeating his calls to reject the creditors' proposals, he asked Greeks to vote no during the referendum, reiterating that a no vote does not mean a Eurozone exit. Tsipras sent a letter to the Eurogroup in which he says Greece is prepared to accept most conditions that were on the table before talks collapsed. In exchange, Tsipras has asked for a €29 billion loan to cover all its debt service payments due in the next 2 years. However, Germany remains skeptical on the proposals. They say it lacks clarity and a new agreement would not be possible until after the referendum next Sunday.
Einigermaßen ergebnislos dann abgebrochen worden, weil es dann ein bisschen verwirrend war, was ist denn eigentlich gemeint und was ist gewollt. Dann wurde gesagt, es wird ein zweiter Brief geschrieben, der ist inzwischen eingetroffen, der hat aber auch nicht für mehr Klarheit geschafft.
Asking for a new program is always possible. Greece is a member of the Eurozone, it's a member of the ESM, and it can ask for financial support. That is quite a procedure to go through. The institutions will again have to do a lot of work on that.
Meanwhile, on the streets, anger and frustration mounted, despite nearly 1,000 banks reopening for the pensioners. On Tuesday, Greece became the first developed country to default on IMF loan. Only 3 other countries are still in arrears to the IMF: Sudan, Somalia and Zimbabwe. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
With a quick break here, but still ahead, a day after Delhi's budget session ended, CAG slammed several government departments for non-performance. Details ahead.
"15 years into the Antyodaya Anna Yojna for the poor, talk now of phasing it out. What's behind this move, and how will it affect target groups? Watch The Big Picture at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now, the row over Lalith Modi and his relations with External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj took a new turn today after it emerged that Modi had offered a job to the minister's husband, Swaraj Kaushal. The Congress trained its guns back on Sushma, even as the BJP continued defending her.
A fresh controversy has erupted over former IPL chief Lalith Modi's links with External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj. Media reports allege that Modi offered a job to her husband, Swaraj Kaushal, on 15th April this year, but withdrew it less than 10 days later.
He gave a proposal that Mr. Kaushal be appointed a director of the company as an alternate director, so he can be present in the meeting in shape of alternate director, which Lalith Modi withdrew.
Swaraj Kaushal also acknowledged that he had been offered a post by the Indofil board, reiterating that he did not take it up. The revelation has given enough fodder to the Congress party, which has again trained its guns on Sushma Swaraj, asking her to come clean on the issue.
Whether it is correct for a family member of a union minister to even consider a job offer from an Indian fugitive who is accused of black money laundering?
This could be prima facie evidence of a quid pro quo. And there's so many wheels within wheels in this case. So it's very clear that an investigation, an impartial investigation, is the immediate need of the hour.
But the BJP stood by its minister, criticizing the Congress for raking up a baseless issue, saying the job offer to Swaraj Kaushal was made in a personal capacity.
But the important question is that this is between two individuals. As far as the government of India is concerned, the BJP is concerned, we are very clear. We are not interested in Mr. Lalith Modi's outputs, his inputs, his tweets. We are only interested in the fact that there are 12 enforcement directorate cases against him. And the finance minister has already said that this is going to be the focus.
The Congress party also sought to pressurize the BJP, putting forth 6 demands that includes making public the minutes of a meeting that purportedly took place between Sushma Swaraj and UK High Commissioner James Bevan. The party says it was in this meeting that the minister favoured grant of travel documents to Lalith Modi. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Maharashtra Minister Pankaj Munday has said that the charges made against her relating an alleged scam are mere words. Munday is accused of awarding contracts worth 206 crore rupees for purchasing items like chikki, mats and books for children without issuing a tender. Hitting out at the opposition, Munday said that similar items were procured at a higher price during the previous Congress NCP rule. She claims the previous government made these purchases at a cost of 408 crore rupees. Calling the charges politically motivated, Pankaj Munday also said that she would help every child fight malnourishment despite the charges against her. She also said that there was no irregularity in the purchases and that she was ready for an ACB probe if that's a demand made by the Congress.
पहिल्यांदा 42 कोटी रुपयांचा पहिल्यांदा इतिहासामध्ये हा पोषण आहाराचा पैसा डायरेक्ट अंगणवाडी सेविकांच्या हातामध्ये देण्याचं काम आम्ही केलं आणि त्याच्यातून त्या मुलांना अंडी आणि केळी देण्यात आली आणि मग त्याच्यामध्ये उरलेल्या पैशामध्ये आम्ही काही खरेदी केली. ही खरेदी काँग्रेसच्या सरकारमध्ये असलेल्या मंत्र्यांनी केलेल्या रेट कॉन्ट्रॅक्टवरच झालेली आहे.
Now, the Comptroller and Auditor General of India has red flagged the Delhi government in its annual report for the year 2013-14. The report says that several of its departments are in a mess and have not been performing as they should have. The report shows school children in Delhi are not getting midday meals and the numbers of dropouts are increasing. Most of the food samples also tested have been found unhealthy. Here's a special report.
The Delhi government does not have any evidence to show that grants worth nearly 6,000 crore rupees given by it were utilized for the intended purpose, even 10 years after the amounts were given. This is among the most shocking findings of the CAG on the national capital's finances for the year 2013-14. The annual report, which was tabled in the Delhi Assembly on Tuesday, also points out under-assessment and short levy of revenue to the tune of 905.66 crore rupees in more than 2,000 cases.
CAG's reports play a very, very important and vital role in ensuring public financial accountability. For the last 3 years, total receipts and disbursement of the government has undergone some increase. Last year we are talking about, year ending March 2014, the total receipts were 32,946 and disbursement was 34,051 crore.
The report further points out at serious discrepancies in the implementation of a number of social welfare schemes. These include the vital midday meal scheme, the MLA local area development scheme and welfare schemes for persons with disabilities. The CAG also found unrealistic budgeting and deficient financial management by several institutions, including the Urban Development Department and Delhi Tourism and Transport Development Corporation. The auditor also rapped the Sanitation Department, stating that civic agencies neither have a perspective plan nor any system for monitoring sanitation services. The Delhi Vidyut Board and DDA also came in for sharp criticism in the CAG report. The report has triggered a blame game between the ruling Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress, which ruled the city-state for 15 years.
अगर इतना खर्चा नहीं हम करते तो दिल्ली का स्वरूप नहीं बदलता।
उसने कहा CAG ने कि MCD के पास अपने रखरखाव के लिए, अपनी समस्याओं के समाधान के लिए और दिल्ली की जनता के हित में काम करने के लिए कोई लॉन्ग टर्म प्लानिंग नहीं है।
Meanwhile, the BJP has attacked the Aam Aadmi Party government for amending the VAT rules, threatening a strike if the decision is not revoked. With Anu Diwan, Bureau Inputs, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you some quick updates from across the country in Nationwide. The Madhya Pradesh government has termed the death of 41 accused in the Vyapam scam as baseless, saying that since the scam was exposed, only 14 people have died while 11 others have died prior to that. Meanwhile, the father of an accused who died last Saturday has demanded a CBI probe into his death. The Vyapam scam, which came to light in 2013, is a massive admission and recruitment scandal involving politicians, bureaucrats and middlemen. Former Telecom Minister Dayanidhi Maran was questioned by the CBI today in connection with a case of allegedly using over 300 high data capacity BSNL telecom lines at his residence in Chennai. Maran was questioned by a team of officials of the Special Task Force of the CBI. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced compensation to the families of victims killed in landslides triggered by heavy rains in Darjeeling district since last night. At least 38 people were killed in the landslides that caused extensive damage to NH10 and NH55, cutting off road and rail link to Darjeeling and Sikkim. Around 15 people are still missing. At least 19 people have died and 20 others were injured when a bus they were travelling in collided with a truck in Khandwa in Madhya Pradesh. 3 of those injured are in a critical condition. The annual Amarnath Yatra started from Jammu today. The first batch of 1,280 pilgrims left for the shrine amid tight security. The Yatra was flagged off by Jammu and Kashmir ministers Lal Singh, Sukhnandan Chaudhary and Priya Sethi. Over 55 security companies have been deployed for the Yatra. All right, more international news. And former Sri Lankan President Mahinda Rajapaksa has decided to contest in the forthcoming parliamentary elections next month. At a rally in South Sri Lanka, Rajapaksa criticised his successor, Maithripala Sirisena's policies on national security and economy. He promised to ensure Sri Lanka's national interest and sovereignty if re-elected. However, it is not clear which party the former president will represent. He lost a bitterly fought presidential election to party rival Sirisena in January this year, and Sirisena has ruled out that his party, the SLFP, will appoint Rajapaksa as its candidate.
හය මාසයයි. ඇතුළත ජාතික ආරක්ෂාව මහා තර්ජනයක්. ජාතික ආර්ථිකයට බරපතල අභියෝග එල්ල වෙලා තියෙනවා.
Now, sharp disagreements today forced the extension of the deadline for an agreement on a final Iran nuclear deal. It fueled concerns that Iran was trying to buy time while resisting inspections in any deal. Iran's supreme leader has been issuing a series of red lines that appear to renege on an interim deal that was agreed upon 3 months ago in Lausanne. Here's more.
With another deadline going by in vain at the Vienna talks, the Iran talks on a nuclear deal have been extended till 7th of July. US Secretary of State John Kerry met his Iranian counterpart Mohammad Javad Zarif 5 times in 4 days. Zarif flew back to Tehran for consultations, returning to Vienna on Tuesday. The two sides agreed to extend an interim agreement that presently constrains Iran's nuclear plans for another week.
Delaying the implementation of the deal is not in any country's best interest. It puts the limitations and restrictions on Iran's nuclear program further down the road, as well as the sanctions relief that Iran wants. Extra time also gives space for critics of the deal to continue to look for ambiguities, to raise up opposition to an agreement, and that's not helpful.
On Monday, the US warned that a framework deal agreed in Switzerland in April had to remain the basis for a comprehensive agreement. This after Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, rejected key demands of the P5+1 in a speech a week ago.
There has been a lot of talk on the other side from the Iranian negotiators about whether, in fact, they can abide by some of the terms that came up in Lausanne. If they cannot, that's going to be a problem. Because I've said from the start, I will walk away from the negotiations if, in fact,
the negotiators hope to clinch an accord curbing Iran's nuclear program for a decade in exchange for relief from international economic sanctions. The US administration has agreed to submit any deal with Iran to Congress by 9th of July, giving both houses 30 days to review its terms and US sanctions be waived. This is believed to be the real deadline for an agreement. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you more stories from across the world in Global Buzz. Around 50 Egyptian soldiers have been killed in a wave of simultaneous attacks by the Islamic State militants in Sinai. 15 people died when a car bomb exploded at a military post in North Sinai, one of 5 targeted along with a police station. There were blasts in Sheikh Zayed and Rafah as well. The attacks come 2 days after the assassination of Egypt's public prosecutor Hisham Barakat in Cairo. The Islamic State insurgents have threatened to remove Hamas from the Gaza Strip. In a video statement, the Islamic State accused Hamas, the organization that rules the Palestinian territory, of being insufficiently stringent about religious enforcement. Hamas has clamped down on alleged supporters of IS in recent months. Searchers have pulled more bodies from the charred wreckage of an Indonesian military plane that was carrying more than 120 people when it crashed near a residential area in Medan. The Hercules C-130B aircraft plowed into a residential area shortly after taking off from the airbase in Sumatra. 141 people have been confirmed dead, including all those on board the plane and 20 people who were killed on ground. The country's DVI unit are working to identify the dead now. China's legislature has passed a wide-ranging and controversial national security law which tightens government control over many areas of life. The Standing Committee of the National People's Congress passed the law by 154 votes to nil with 1 abstention. The law broadly defines national security as covering everything from finance and cybersecurity to religion and even outer space. That's it on the news tonight from the entire team here. Thanks so much for joining us. Good night.